And do you recall what happened? That everyone around the globe, and we are being pretty all-inclusive here, but you get the point, was glued to the media. Yes? And everyone was suddenly in that probable world because it turned into a mass event. And mass event had so much magnitude around it that everyone was focused on it, and the global elite really wanted to steer everyone's consciousness into that probable world that was all about terrorism, and it was all about ritual sacrifice and all kinds of occult rituals that were going on with that event. Now, when you have your own personal life and you are doing something, it is not a mass event, it is a private event. And say you were walking down the road and someone said, "Hey, Elizabeth, I've been looking for you. Where are you going?" You said, "Well, I've got a plan. I'm going here." And they said, "Well, something better has come up. Please, can you change your plans, and would you like to come with us for the day? We are going to go do this." And you say, "All right, I'll change my plans." Now, the way probabilities work is that technically, we can use that word about non-physical things, there is like a split off. Part of Elizabeth may continue to do her plan while another part of Elizabeth may go off with a new plan. And you would be thinking wherever you are that you're on the new plan. Do you follow? But there may be a trace or residual Elizabeth that said, "Well, you know, I really was going to do this." Now, these are how probabilities work. And probabilities are created when you meet a juncture where a decision is made or something changes your life. We always say if people get ill or they create a sudden event, that's a probability got shaken up or changed because you're suddenly changing the direction that you were going in. You're not doing what you planned on doing. Now, what we were saying, you will all have probabilities that you will build based on your own inner decisions. And the global level, there's a mass probability. The mass means everyone's going to be involved in it on the financial level. So that you will hear and be part of, if you carry dollars around in your pocket, it could be in this mass event that your dollars are going to be worth less because everyone's dollars are worth less. Do you follow this? However, there may be parts of all of you that branch off into probabilities where the dollar stays stable, etc., and that there's none of these shakeups, although it doesn't look that way to us. The main line where the mass psyche is headed is dismantling. And you are all here for the dismantling because you are the rebuilders. Now, within that dismantling, you may be more than fine. You may find you have more abundance, because you call for it and people start around you, start building, putting things together. Your services are needed, you barter, you know, you have what you want. There's many ways to deal with the situation. You follow this?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Anything else?
So what you're saying is that we can create our own experience, and of course we can create an inner experience and find it all to be lovely. If there's a mass chaos around us, we can interpret it however we want. But are you also saying that our own physical reality could be different? Let's just talk about the finances. That could we literally then create ourselves individually a financial experience that's different?
Different in terms of
everyone else. If everyone else is
but still
apart and having to live simply and live together, and could we create something different from that?
You can, but again, all of your finances at this time are based in this country on the dollar. And it's the dollar that's having the problems. So because you are invested in the dollar, it's going to touch all of you. So your dollars will disappear or be worth less, or some kinds of craziness will happen. But that's neither here nor there. It's what you do with that experience. Would you create a situation where the dollar stays fine? We don't see that. We don't see that because that's not what you came for. You all came to rebuild something after it falls apart. That's part of your soul's job, to be to be stabilizers. That is basically what your job is this summer. Our vehicle gave you the suggestion about getting those little chopsticks. You can go bigger if you want to, but the chopsticks are handy because you can carry them to your friends' houses. You can put them in the car easily, your back pocket, the purse. There'll be quite a conversation piece. People will think you're raving something here when you pull out your 12 chopsticks and say, mind if I put a few chopsticks in your yard while we're visiting this afternoon, you know. Go for it, be a little weird. Everything's going to get so weird that's mild weird, really. It's mild. But it will give you something to chuckle about, and we want you to understand that this is a time of opportunity to an extraordinary level. And this is what you are here for, to restructure things. And just by playing with those chopsticks and making a serpent one time, a circle, a star, or put them, you can spread them out, you can have them 20 feet apart on your lawn, or you can have them all within 6 inches. Have fun with them and run the energy. Because this is what your job is to do, is to stabilize this energy. And think of those chopsticks as little stabilizers. That's what they really are. You are stabilizing the energy, showing, demonstrating that you are making different shapes and positions for it, etc. But it's really you being able to find a marvelous, super thriving path through these times of change. We have great faith in you. We know what your abilities are. They are extraordinary. We know when you hear about collapse, it's got a big charge around it, and financial's got another big charge. Actually, some of you are more comfortable with physical collapse than you are with financial. Now, do your homework. If you are in debt, you are a fool. Because we've been preparing you for years saying, get out of debt. And yet, if you are a fool, sometimes it's the fool that is the most flexible. Sometimes it's the fool that has the least to lose, and it is the winner in the end. But do not deny your states, and do not shrug off your responsibilities. But certainly, by all means, do a bibbidi-bobbidi-boo that everything works out better than fine, and excel in your expectations of excellence. All right? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. So we are now continuing last night's discussion. Today it is Sunday workshop day. We're going to play with you this afternoon, expanding your ideas about who you think you are. You know, sometimes people think they are aware. Awareness is tricky, like so many things are. There's always room to be more aware. And sometimes you can get stuck in certain body chakras. Sometimes you can get stuck on certain brainwave frequencies. You can get stuck on repetitive patterns that keep moving over the same territory across various lifetimes. How unique do you want to be in these times? How free do you want to be? And what does freedom mean? Last night we asked you to consider that your reality is built on a mirage. You remember that? And yet, in certain terms, all realities are built on a mirage, because, as we said, everything is about moving electrons, moving energy. That is the richness of the multiverse. That things can be made out of nothing. And when you have a lot of forms of consciousness focused on certain ideas, certain beliefs, so to speak, All kind of energy is being poured into that, and realities build themselves. Part of, let's say, your challenge is to understand the mechanics of how things are brought into being. Many people in the mass consciousness, were they to extend their lives by 100 pleasant years, would not be able to figure out some of these concepts. Not everyone has earned the same intellectual capacity. Intellect is a bit of a dangerous word there, because your Western world is built on a false intellect. It's built on a false science, presumptions about reality that work. Numbers, machines, frequencies. You had a good discussion this morning about the power, the garden of the mind and brainwave frequencies and what they really do. You also discussed how others who have controlled people for many, many decades use the knowledge of brainwave frequencies to manipulate individuals and the masses. So even if today the whole world were called to awaken, and all the information that we said was simply laid out to them in understandable fashion, not everyone has the capability of this kind of understanding. Recognize that not only are each of you dealing with your own lives, the situations that you create and co-create with family, friends, living to thrust you into new territory. We remind you that, with fondness, we remind you that you are lazy. And that you create on the larger scale, individually and en masse. You create challenging and difficult situations that make you grow, that make you wake up and pull your energy together and always learn something new. And you then evolve your own power, your own knowledge, and your own experience in this capacity. For each of you here in this room, and for all of those out there listening in Mysteryland, we say to you right now that you have come here to be of great assistance by creating a new way of looking at reality.